Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be going over the basics of registering commands and making functions. So in this series, you're going to learn the basic natives that you'll use in almost every single script you create, and we're going to do this in short tutorials, but really simple scripts that will help you learn the basics. Today we're going to be going over registering commands and creating functions. So to do this, once you're in your code editor of choice and you've gone to your server folder, we are going to create a new folder, and this is always going to be the name of your resource. It is always going to match this in your server config, and the reason why you want to make this easy to write down is because if you ever have to debug and restart in server, you wanted something easy to remember that you can type out in the console to restart it if needed. So just for the basics, we're going to name this tut gun, so gun tutorial, because this tutorial we're going to be making a script that is going to give you a gun from a command, and we're also going to remove that gun from your person with the command. So we're going to start by making two files. So how we're going to do this is we're going to start by making our fxmanifest. And it always needs to end in .lua. So now that we've got our fxmanifest, we're going to be making a very basic fxmanifest. There's a lot more you can add to this, and this is where you'll also add parameters for certain things. You're going to be adding in, like, if you're using a resource that needs Lua 5.4, which is not something I'm going to cover in this video, but a lot of scripts you'll make. Normal Lua, basic Lua, isn't going to have the capability for, but stuff like this it will. But all those things you would put in here, so it'd be like Lua 5.4, like this. It'd be Lua, I believe it's typed out as Lua 5.4. No, it's 5.4, something like this. And then it would be equals true, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But we're going to start with this. So every file should start with your fx version. So it's going to be fx_version. And it doesn't have to be exactly mine. I don't know exactly where mine is out of date at. I've used the same fx version pretty much everything because I usually just copy and paste my fxmanifest and then edit it as needed. It's the lazy way, but it saves a lot of time, and it's just a lot of headache just to create these every time you work with something, because I'm a person that is always experimenting with stuff and making a lot of random scripts on my dev server. So, as I said, I'm going to start with this, and it's going to be adamant? I can never say this word. Adamant, and I always end up, there's a couple times I'll end up saying adamantite. I can say that, but I can't say adamant. Anyways, so adamant. And now we need to declare our game version. So if you're working for something for Red Dead 2, you'd be doing RDR2 in this. But we're going to be putting GTA 5, so we can start with game GTA 5. And now this is all the information you need besides your scripts to get a functioning script. So we are just going to be making a client-sided script. So all we need to do is client_scripts, and then curly brackets, and we put it in here. Now I'm going to show you a quick little trick too. If you're trying to select multiple folders in the same thing, multiple files, what you can do is you can do something like this. So if we put a client directory, so it'd be something like this, client/*.lua. Now you'll notice that this is looking a little weird. That is because it is broken, because this needs to be set as a string. So now that it's set as a string, this will function. And what this is telling it is client folder, and anything that ends in .lua in this folder is a client script. But since we're not got anything like that, we're just going to use our client.lua. And if you need to do multiple, you would put a comma here and then make your next one. But we aren't going to be doing that. So now we have this. This is a functioning fxmanifest, and we can move on to our client. So now we need to make our client So now we've got our client.lua, and just double check if we've typed that right. Yes, we did. Okay, so how we're going to do this is we're going to first make our function. So this is what is going to be called by our command to give us our gun. So it's going to start with function, and then we put it what its name is. It doesn't get to be a string, so it's going to be give weapon. And in the parentheses, we're going to be here. We need to put what is it we're passing through with this function. So what is our command going to have to give? So our command's going to give the gun name and the ammo count. So now this is probably confusing at the moment, but we'll explain here in a minute. So now that we've got this, we need to put in here what our function's going to actually do. So our function's going to call a native, which I will have a link in the description to the native database, and it is going to be give weapon to head. And now we need to put in the parameters. So the parameters for this is pretty basic and simple to remember. So first we need to find the ped, and we need to find our player ped. Now that's really simple. We're just going to do player ped ID, and as you see, it's not working. So what we're going to do is we're going to put another parentheses, and now it should find us. Now you'll see a lot of people put -1 in here. You don't need to. You can leave it blank, and it will work just fine. So now we're going to do the next parameter. We need to find the hash key. Now, we don't want to have to find the hash keys for every gun, because that's going to be way harder to remember than just the name. But it needs a hash key. Now there's a nice little trick to this, and that is get hash key. And we're going to be passing in this our gun. So it's going to find the hash key of our gun we put in, and then it will pass that hash key to the give weapon to pet, and it will give us our gun. Next, we're passing in where we're giving it ammo. So this is going to be the ammo count, but we're passing it in through our function. So, and then the last two parameters are, is it hidden? I'm not 100% sure what this actually does when it hides. So I'm going to leave this to false, and it'll work just fine. And then the last parameter is force to hands. And we want to make this true. Not capital T. Alright. So now that we have that, we need to end the function with just end. There you go, you've made your first function. Now we need to register our command. So we're going to register command and parentheses. So register commands are still pretty simple. So we're going to, first we need to put in the name of our command, what we're going to type in /what, and this needs to be a string. So it's going to be this, and then we're going to just put gun. So now we've got that, we need to put the function. So here we're going to put function and parentheses. Now, function is where it gets a little confusing for people that are newer to developing. So in the function here, we need to tell it what is going to be expected when we type the command. So it is going to need source. This just tells it the source of the command. And then we're passing in arguments through this command. So we need args. Now, args don't work unless you put raw command. I am not 100% sure what this actually does. I need to look more into it, but I haven't got that far yet. So now we've got that, we're going to bring this down here and end this function, just so we have it done and we don't forget it. And now we're going to come up and we're going to fill this in. So we're going to do two things. When you're making something, it's always nice to have something to help you know if your things are running and what is happening. So we're going to put prints. This will print it in the console. So it's going to be print, and we're going to print our first argument. So what this means is that whatever we type after the /gun, the first thing, it's going to print here. And then we also need the second one. We're going to print args 2. And then now we need to actually run the native that we need to use. Wait, no we don't. We have our function. So we are going to now pass in our function. So it's going to be give weapon. And what we need to pass in the gun and ammo. So all we're going to do is we're going to do args And it's going to be the first one is our gun, and the second one is our ammo. And we're done with that. So this command is done. Now, you always want to be able to remove the gun if you're having issues with something. So we're going to make a second one to remove the weapon. Now that's really easy to do. It's just going to be register command remove gun. And then just like before, we're going to put our comment. Now, because this doesn't need any arguments through it, we can just leave it blank in the parentheses, but we still need that. So, as before, we're going to end this. And now we need to put what this is going to do. As you can see, I didn't make a function for removing the gun. That is entirely fine. We technically could have done the give weapon to ped in the register command for gun, but I feel like it's better to just have this because it's something to learn from. And so if you don't want to do that and it's just a one-time use for what you're doing, you can actually put the native in the command like so. So we're going to do register command remove gun, and then what it's going to run is remove all ped weapons. So now that we have that in it, and if you just did this, nothing would happen because it doesn't know where to try and get them from. So it's going to remove all our weapons. We need player ped ID, and then now this should be able to run. And we have one more step before that, is we need to go into our server config here, and this is going to be where you turn all your properties for your server. And we need to come in here and we're going to ensure, and you need to name it exactly, it's case sensitive and every character sensitive as the folder name of your resource. So it's going to be tut gun. So now we have that. When we start our server, it is going to then actually run our server. So it is going to run on the server without us having to start it. So I'll see you in there. Alright, now that we're in the server, we're now going to actually run our commands. So we need to do /gun, and if we try to do assault rifle and then 900 ammo, as you can see, nothing happens, but it does print up here what we put in. See, the problem is we need the actual ID for the spawning. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the website I have in the description, which is right here. It is the Rage wiki, and this has got all the weapons IDs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the assault rifle one right here. We're going to copy that. If we go in here, it's going to be, we're going to replace assault rifle here with that weapon ID. Now we run it. We're given a gun, and as you can see, it does have ammo. So now that we've got that, we need to remove the gun. So we want to remove it. So it's just going to be /remove gun, and now we've removed the gun. Alrighty, and I think it's good to go. So you guys have a nice day. Peace.